All right. All right. For those of you that are saying, what in the heck? And I'm going to keep it at PG for right now. You can keep it at PG. Feel free to until because we have with us, and again, I'm so excited. That's why I'm babbling. That's why I'm babbling, because whenever I get a chance to be with a Raider and talk, I said, dude, that's Daryl Hobbs. That's Daryl Hobbs that's in the studio with me. So please come join us. This is a special show because when you have an opportunity to have anybody that you just looked out on the screen, it's like, man, that's the dude. And Daryl, I think I told you this. I told you this in Kansas City when I met you. I said it was so nice when I'm walking up to the excursion in Kansas City and I hear, yo, Captain Jack. And I'm looking. But and I saw the direction of where it came from, but I didn't see who it was. And then I come in the gate, and again, you reach out, Captain Jack, and that's just like, that's Daryl Hobbs. He knows me. He knows me.
Yes, sir.
It was wonderful because again, I'm just an old dude that watches football, and that is the man who played football for my favorite team, that was with a track team, and we'll talk. I know he will talk about that. Yeah. I know you guys probably could have won an Olympic medal.
Yes, indeed.
But even like the extras, like the alternates could have won a medal.
Yeah, well, you remember we had a silver medalist on the squad, Sam Grady.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So when you have that amount, and remember the old speed kills, it really could.
Yes, it did. You had to be able to run. You had to be able to, if you were a receiver, any skill position, Al wanted you to be able to move. Period.
That's right. And for those that don't know, Daryl Hobbs played with the Los Angeles Oakland Raiders from 92 to 96. I got his stats. By the way, he is at least a 50% passer.
Yes, sir.
He's a 50% passer. And 1 year he had a perfect QBR, 1-for-1.
We'll
talk about that as well. So, and I didn't know that. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. You can tell I'm excited, and this is genuine cool. I got to talk about it, but I'm gonna shut up eventually. But Daryl played for the Raiders. He went to the Saints, and I've already heard the Saints story, so I'm going to definitely let him talk to you about the Saints. From there, he went to the Seahawks. It says he was on the Chiefs, so I guess that was there, but didn't really happen. But you can talk about that as well.
Yeah.
And then you said, you know what? I don't like being warm anymore. This warm weather stuff is for the birds. I'm going to go freeze my nuts off. Goes to the Alouettes and the Rough Riders in the CFL. And then as a bonus, played in the XFL for the Memphis Maniacs. And so that is a statured career. But we're going to start with Daryl. First off, we're gonna go way back in the Wayback Machine. I'm kind of like Sherman and Peabody. Do you know who I'm talking about when I talk about Sherman and Peabody?
Yes, sir. I know where you're going.
Because I say things. I was talking about MASH today, and the guy said I wasn't old enough to. I'm like, dude, you're just shut up, okay? If you don't know what MASH is, but if you know Sherman and Peabody, because we're talking about original Rocky and Bullwinkle stuff. Yes. Sherman and Peabody, they went in the Wayback Machine. We're going to the Wayback Machine, okay? So. You went to the University of Pacific, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But what got you to the University of Pacific? Because obviously somebody had to see you with your high school accolades. Tell us about how Daryl Hobbs went on this track. And I'm just going to shut up and let you talk.
Okay. So what happened was this. Everyone knows I was raised pretty much in LA. And it was another guy, from LA that went to UOP, and you guys know him. His name is Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
And Hugh Jackson recruited me. He recruited me to UOP. He was one of my coaches. And so Hugh brought us up, and he brought a lot of us up from LA because that was his recruiting territory. And at that time, I was a quarterback, and Hugh was a quarterback at UOP. And so long story short, I got there, and Hugh he left, and Coach Harris was the head coach. He moved me to wide receiver because we had that talk. Daryl, if you want to make a living playing this game, your best shot is playing wide receiver. At that time, they had moved me, and it was a guy there by the name of John Gruden. John Gruden.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
We call him Wild Thing. That's his nickname. He knows it as we call him Wild Thing. Everybody's with this Chucky stuff, but when we see him, we call him Wild Thing. He knows what it means. Okay, so at that time, he was a GA. And he's out there. I'm running routes and catching the ball. And I hear him yelling, Coach Harris, I told you, that's Al Toon right there. That is Al Toon. He's built like Al Toon. He runs routes like Al Toon. So Coach Gruden was comparing me to Al Toon. Mm-hmm. That's where it took off. Okay. From then on, I was playing wide receiver, caught a lot of balls. We ran a run and shoot. I led the Big West Conference in touchdowns both years with 14, 70-something, 80-something catches. We put up a lot of stats to be noticed at Little Bitty UOP. So it ended up working out for me. I ended up tagging along with Gary Calhoun, whose brother was a linebacker for the Raiders at one point in time. And we had got Gary Calhoun from Tennessee, Coach Harris, and the Raiders wanted to see him work out. So it was a guy with the Raiders by the name of George Karras, may he rest in peace, Mr. George Karras. George Karras told Gary to bring me along. You come on and bring Daryl. We'd like to see Daryl come catch some balls for us. So I tagged along, went to El Segundo, and I ended up running a 4.46 on the grass because the Raiders, we don't care about no turf stuff. If you can run fast on the grass, you're automatically gonna be moving on the turf. So they timed us on the grass. I ran a 4.46 on the grass. Ended up I caught everything out there, and they ended up bringing me in and not Gary.
Oh, 4.46 is pedestrian, sir. Pedestrian. I can run a 4.6.
Yeah.
In 4 months, 6 days, but I can run a 4.6. Okay.
4.46. 4.46.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had an awesome workout, and it ended up they invited me to camp. I actually had to choose. I had Chicago and the Raiders, and I was raised in LA. I was obviously coming back home to LA, and it was beautiful for me. Worked out for me.
Okay, and what was it like? Because again, I know the answer to this next question. Because again, when you went to the Raiders, you were on the Raiders, but you weren't on the Raiders.
No, I was.
But
yeah, I wasn't on the Raiders. I was there. Okay, yeah. And at that time, they had just put together the practice squad. Okay. That's the first. Yeah, the first year the practice squad was developed, I was a part of it, and I'm glad it was there because that's the only way I stuck. If it wasn't a practice squad, I don't know where I would have been. But I hung around long enough on that practice squad, practiced real hard. And Fred Bolitnikoff, my coach, one thing that I could do was catch a football. Okay, and Freddie let me know that, and Freddie would always tell me, Daryl, the more that you can do, the longer you can stay. And so once I knew he knew I could catch the ball, then I was a gunner. I was a punt returner. I was a kickoff returner. I held on field goals. I was an emergency quarterback because I started off as a quarterback with UOP. So they knew I could throw the ball. So, I just hung around and, that practice squad, it was brutal. It was brutal because back then, I mentioned this to you in Kansas City, it wasn't no sitting on the bench with the team.
Exactly.
When we went to Kansas City, we had to go sit up there in the stands with the Chief fans, and that wasn't a pretty sight. And they kind of got away from that, because we got into it up there in the stands with them. So the second half, they made arrangements for us to stay down with the team. But originally, even in the Coliseum, even on the home games, we had to sit up there in the stands during that first year on the practice squad.
So for all those people that are thinking like this is lineage, and I didn't know this information, which is why I was kind of spoon feeding it there. The practice squad, imagine that you are in the stands with the other fans. And like when you're going to Kansas City, when you're in the Kansas City fans were throwing stuff on the field. They weren't throwing batteries like they did in Philly and in other areas that I won't talk about. But they weren't throwing, but they were throwing things as well. And you're up there with that mob. Now you're wearing, I guess, you're wearing team apparel, so they knew who you were.
We're wearing our Raider gear, and they're throwing beer or saying that they're accidentally spilling it on us.
Yeah, okay. Of course.
But, they're getting beer all on us, and it wasn't. Even in Denver, I mean, we at Mile High, we had to sit up there at Mile High, and it wasn't a pretty sight. But I'm glad they got away from that.
Yeah. Well, so again, the wonderfulness of what has evolved. Like I said, the practice squad players are at least part of more of a part of the team.
Yes.
Than they were. Like I said, so I mean, in baseball they called it the taxi squad and things like that as well.
Yes.
But it's same thing. It's like, and I did not know that it's like you were a teammate, but you weren't with the team. And thank God they did something about that.
Yes. And we understood our job. My job was to work on my skill, but I was also there to make sure, Ronnie Lott, Terry McDaniel, Albert Lewis, Torrin Doran, Danny Land, all the defensive backs. We had to give them a good look. We had to give them a look of what the Chiefs or the Broncos or the Chargers receivers would give them for that game that Sunday. So that's what we did, man. That's what we did. Those 5 or 6 guys that we had on that practice squad, if you were a linebacker, you had to do your job, man.
And again, so I know that when you played the Jets, you definitely played Al Toon.
Yeah, I scored a few times on the Jets, on Vance Joseph, I believe. I think Vance Joseph is a coach somewhere now, right?
Well, he was the coach with Denver before he got canned, and then I can't remember.
He's a defensive coordinator with he was here in Houston at one time. He was a DC in Houston, then he went to Denver.
Right.
But he's with what team? It's not the Eagles. He's with NFL. He's currently coaching as a defensive coordinator with a team.
Okay, and actually he's not a bad coach. I mean, like the ones that were like in Denver, like he was one, and actually the other guy that was in were they San Diego technically, or were they LA back then? The head coach that he couldn't just get. He was a good defensive coordinator that became the head coach, and Vance Joseph was that. He was a good defensive coordinator, became the head coach, and his team wouldn't put out for him. So obviously they're going by record. So it's like, you're out of here, which is unfortunate.
Correct. After 1 year, I want to say Chicago. He was just on TV the other day. They were showing him the other day. But yeah, Vance Joseph, he was trying his best to hold me, but wasn't nothing happening.
Yeah, and Mike Sarah is saying that he's with the Rams now.
Yeah.
Okay, this is why I put it out, and the people that are in there, they're finding the information. I don't need a staff of assistants. I let the folks at View. They're my coordinators there. That's right. So, But now you said that you made the practice squad because thank God you did. Now, who was on the team that you obviously couldn't kick out of their positions? When you were on that team, obviously they had some players there.
We had a stable of receivers. When I got there, man, you had Swervin Mervin, you had Willie Gault, you had Timmy Brown, you had who was there? Sam Grady was there. Ron Brown was there. Jet wasn't there yet, and Alexander Wright wasn't there yet. Johnny Morton, Johnny Mo, you know Johnny Morton.
Yeah.
He was there. And it was, they were locked in. They were pretty much locked. Oh, James Lofton. You know, James Lofton was there. He actually had number 80. And when they got rid of James, that's when I was able to get the number. But I started off with number 14. That was my number 14. So, but yeah, we had stable receivers. My roommate, my room dogs, Pancho, Andrew Glover, love him. That's my big bro. Yeah. I had to bide my time and wait my time, and it all worked out for me when it was my time to go. I did just enough in those preseason games. Freddie and them kind of featured me a little bit. They wanted to make sure they were getting the real deal and not fake. And I really appreciate that to my pops, old Freddie. I call him Pops. It worked out for me, man. But it was, the Raiders, those receivers, man. I mean, like you said, it's a track team. We had a track team, man. And that's at all positions, really.
Yeah. Now I got to ask. So when you made it, obviously one guy didn't. So who did you beat out for that last receiver spot?
Well, that's how I got 80. I mean, they Lofton was at the end of the line. So James he retired, or they let him go, and I replaced him. And then I don't know, they kept Sam Grady another year. They got rid of Ron Brown too. I think they got rid of Ron. Ron wasn't around there.
Yeah, Grady was 85. I thought Ron Brown was 80. No. Maybe Lofton took it from him. I used to remember him, but maybe I
think James, when they got James, he had gotten that number from Ron, because James is a Hall of Famer. That's his number.
Exactly. So I wasn't incorrect, because I know in these, you're talking about Alexander Wright, 89, Grady, 85, Hobbs, 80. It's like that's me, because I know these guys. I know those numbers. But but the 80 looks good on you. And by the way, folks, and obviously you're talking about an athlete and granted, and Mr. Hobbs is as well. And I'm going to embarrass myself. When I met you, like I said, dude, you're big. You're big. I mean, not because I'm used to be 6 foot, but now that I've gotten older, I've slid. This used to be up here. It has gone down, and this I've dropped about a half an inch, because I used to be 6 foot. Now I'm 5'11 and a half. But it's like when I see the wrist, I'm like, because you and when I saw Poncho, I'm like looking like I'm craning my neck to talk to Poncho, and it just. Because I've seen Fred, and I can talk eye to eye with Fred.
Yeah, Fred little.
Yeah, and no offense to Fred, but he's kind of my size, right?
Yeah.
When you see these, it's like, dude, and trust me, there is not an ounce of fat on Mr. Hobbs. There's plenty of it here. Not an ounce of fat, because again, a receiver has to be svelte and quick and cat-like at all times.
Correct.
So I know that's where, and I'm a lineman, so I got to be beefy.
Yeah. We try to keep fit at the alumni gathering we had. Man, the first thing when I bumped into Marcus looked at me. Marcus Adderley looks at me and he says, "Man, you and Willie, you think I'm fit? You should see Willie. You see Willie Galt?" He said, "Man, you and Willie, you guys still look the same. You guys haven't gained no weight."
Yeah. And I did see Marcus last. Actually, surprisingly, Marcus knows who I am too.
Man, we all know who you are. Y'all don't.
But see, the thing is, my friend went up to him. He says, "Hey, do you know the pirate?" And Marcus, and I'm getting this from him. He's like, "Do you know the pirate?" He's like, kind of like give him and then he shows him a picture. So, dude, I know that dude. I know. So when Marcus Allen knows who you are, that's cool. And like when Rod Martin comes up to me at the Blitnikoff events, "Hey, Jack," and I'm like, "That's Rod Martin. He knows who I am too." So I mean, because we know who you are. you are,
Man, we know who you are. I told you earlier. I talked to Freddie this morning, and Freddie, I said, Freddie, I'm gonna be on with Jack this evening, man. He said, oh yeah, man, Jack, the cat. So yeah, Freddie's like, yeah, I mean, I know the cat.
Well, and he's awesome as well. So I definitely got to get with him. In fact, I will get my tickets, and I'm going to get with the ladies. Since I want to sit at this table if possible.
Yeah.
So, and we can't, and we'll talk about the Blitnikov event for all of the folks who are. But the first thing I want to do is I'm going to put up a GoFundMe. I want you guys to at least look at this, get this site ready. I'm putting it in the chat because Daryl's going to talk about it. I'm not going to. This is for the chat. This is for the chat. Don't go there now. I mean, you can go there now, but there's a reason why I'm doing that, and this will be at. We're leading up to it. This is called a tease. It's called a tease, bro. It's called a tease. That is Daryl's GoFundMe, and it's a wonderful GoFundMe, which I will make sure because I said, dude, I need your GoFundMe because I'm going to be dealing with that, and trust me. This dude don't hit up GoFundMes unless it's worthwhile. And if I'm going to go in this GoFundMe, shame on you if you're not going to the GoFundMe. But okay, getting back to this is the Captain Jack story. We start on the highway, then we go to the state road, and then the county road, and then the non-county road, then the dirt road. And I'm going to bring you back onto the highway. We're going back on the highway, Daryl. I'm sorry. My viewers know this is me, but maybe you know that this is me. This is natural. So you go from the Raiders, and being with the Raiders. Talk about playing with the Raiders. So I'm leading up to the next story now.
Yeah, okay. I got you. Well, I'll tell you this: Al took care of us, and you really don't realize this until you leave. Okay, you realize what you had and how good you had it. But when I was with the Raiders, certain things that we did, it was a championship caliber. If you know what I'm saying, you play like champions, you get treated like champions. Okay, and there's certain things that we always were able to get as a Raider that you don't always get somewhere else. Okay, and we'll get to that. As a Raider, Al would go to war for you, but you had to play. You had to do your job and make him go that extra length, give you that extra effort for you. But I remember when we went to Dallas, we used to have to go down there and have the little preseason practices with them. And at that time, we had Kevin Gogan, Big KG. We had just got him from the Cowboys. And I still remember this like it was yesterday. We had a meeting, and Kevin Gogan, he knew just what to do to get us off that practice field. And he knew Al would follow through with it. So, of course, he got out there and he got into a fight with the Cowboys, and we didn't even get to practice going. And as soon as that fight happened, because we didn't want to practice that day. And so Al just said, man, hit the horn. He hit the horn, get to the bus. We got to the bus, man. We went straight to the hotel, and we had the day off. Okay. But Kevin Gogan planned that. He planned it because we really, we didn't really care too much about him at that time anyway, because they thought they were, the hot to trot, Troy Aikman and all those, they had the little squad.
All the pretty
boys and stuff like that. So Al would take care of you. You were spoiled. I was spoiled as a Raider. I'm gonna tell you right now. We had everything we wanted. If we didn't have it, he would get it. We just had to let him know. But when you're a championship team, you have Super Bowl trophies, and you go somewhere else, you realize what you have, and you can see the difference.
Now, before we go there, I got to ask, your first meeting with Al Davis, walk me through that.
Oh, man. Al, oh, God, and El Segundo. I had met with Al. Al would always tell me, he took pride in finding me. He was the one who found me up at the UOP. And, it's only 3 people from UOP that played with the Raiders. It's one person that coached them, and you guys already know that was Hugh Jackson. He's from UOP. He was the head coach. But Wayne Hawkins, may he rest in peace. My guy, Tom Flores, the Hall of Famer, and myself were the only ones that I know of that graduated from UOP that played with the Raiders. Of course, you got Pete Carroll, who's the head coach of the Seahawks. He's from UOP too. He's an alumni of UOP, but he didn't play with the Raiders. But we're the only 3 that played with the Raiders from UOP. And so, man, I lost my train of thought.
Back to Al.
Al took pride in finding me at UOP, and he would always say, "Man, Daryl, have you ever heard of stardom?" He said, "Man, if you follow the steps that Freddie, the skills and stuff that Freddie teaches you, you'll be a star." He used to always be a star. And so, me growing up in LA, I think I told you this also. One day I brought my friend, best friend, he's a male guy, Gordon Jones. He was at every function with me. He's like my brother. I brought him to the facility, and I had to go meet Freddie. And Gordon was in the lobby walking around, and here comes Al. Al has on the white sweatsuit with the silver glasses and the rings on. And he looks over at Gordon and he says, "Hey, man, who are you?" And he said, "Oh, I'm Gordon. I'm with Daryl." I'm with Daryl. He said, "Hey, have you ever heard of stardom?" He said, "Huh?" He said, "Daryl, he's going to be a star." And I found him. I found him. So he told that story to Gordon. Gordon told me that when I came back out to meet with Freddie. But at first he thought he was getting ready to throw him out the building. He was afraid. He was so scared. He thought Al was going to call security on him.
Well, but again, yeah, the staff and obviously the scouting was there, and I got a chance. Obviously, I spoke. John Kingdon is a good friend of mine, so obviously the scouts had their dossiers on you. So it's like, what was it? Hugh that actually turned the Raiders on? I mean, because somebody was interconnected to say, "Hey, I got somebody for you." And I mean, people know about you, but what person amongst the scouting staff said, "Hey, I'm the one"?
Well, George Karras. Yeah, remember, I went down there in that workout. George Karras, I believe George Karras was a scout, and people forget a guy by the name of Steve Ortmeyer.
Oh yeah, Steve Ort. You can't forget Steve Ortmeyer.
Now I'm going to tell you, I love Steve, and I love Bo, his son. Steve Ortmeyer was the guy that brought me to the Memphis Maniacs in the XFL, and we'll get there. Yeah, because he was in charge of that deal over there too. But Steve Ortmeyer was also involved with me getting with the Raiders. But George Karras was there, the original person that did that workout. But I always thought, and they say we are related. He's from Texas. He's from Cuero. I'm from Victoria. Arthur Whittington.
Oh, yeah, 22.
22. I call him kinfolk. We call each other kinfolk. He was there with the Raiders, and he's from Cuero, and I'm from Victoria, and we're right up the way. And he knows my people. My people knew his people, so we had some type of connection there. So I always thought that Arthur had some input in that stuff too.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it worked out for me, man. But I think George Karras, I know definitely Ortmeyer, Steve Ortmeyer, and Freddie. Freddie looked at all the film, and like I told you, one thing, it's me, Tim Brown, who else? Swervin. We could catch that ball. We could catch the ball. My job was to move the chains. I knew I was going to get the third best cornerback, or the worst, or the fourth cornerback, kind of like Hollins is doing now, number 10.
Right.
He's going to get. The first 2 starters are the best ones that they have. The other ones that they bring in there, I knew I was getting someone that don't even supposed to be on the field, just like Hollins. So I should kill him. That was my mentality. So I knew me and Tim Brown, they could interchanges. Because back then you had to know X, Y, and Z. You just didn't know, certain people, the fast people, they could line up at one spot, and your job was to take the top off.
Let me see. You're going to run a 9 pattern. When am I doing this next time? You're going to run a 9.
Correct. And we're going to come underneath, and you're going to clear it out for the people that can catch that thing and do something. And so I knew my job was most of my catches on third downs and moving the chains. That's what my job was.
So you're third in Hobbs instead of being third in Renfro.
I was doing that a long time ago.
Right.
Yes.
But again, like I said, when you have Tim Brown there, when you have Swerve and Mervin Fernandez, when you have Alexander, or although Alexander was definitely a 9. He was definitely
he was a 9. Ace was a 9. Alexander, we called him Ace. Ace was a 9. James Jett was a 9. Rocket Ishmael was a 9.
Right. It's like, yeah, we know what. Just go deep. Just go deep.
8s and 9s. Post. Yeah, post and go routes.
There you go. See, this my lineman, man. It's like, you guys do that. I'm just going to block the dudes that are in front of me to make, because you don't want to give your quarterback a lookout block. You know what a lookout block is, right?
Yeah, I know. I used to play the position. I know. Yeah.
Look out! You know that's the lookout block. You know, you're telling your quarterback. Look, yeah. And I sometimes I played against Gary Zimmerman, who played for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
I played him in high school, and you know, Gary, he was kind of like just this big country. You know, like I played him with, he just pushed me. I didn't even get a chance to give a lookout block. He just, just like, get out of my way, kids. So that's my claim to fame. I actually played against an NFL guy. But so now the Raiders quarterbacks in that era, obviously we know who the skills were, but who are your shit? Well, obviously Poncho, a tight end, but who are the other skill players? Who's the quarterbacks? Who's the running backs?
Well, at that time, our quarterback, when I got there, Jay Schrader was the quarterback. Todd Marinovich, Vince Evans, Billy Joe Hobart came, but Jay was the guy. Jay was the guy, and then eventually I caught most of my balls from old Hostetler, old Jeff.
There you go.
Old Jeff was my guy, but Todd, I caught quite a few balls from Marinovich when he was out there too. And the running backs, of course, we had Marcus. I was there with, Bo was rehabbing his hip. I didn't play with Bo. Bo was injured when I got there. He was rehabbing. But Marcus was there, Eric Dickerson. I think
was Roger Craig there too?
Roger Craig was there. Who else?
It might have been Rathman then. I'm not, or I might be mixing.
No, Rathman was there. Who else was there? Joe Aska was there. Joe Aska was there during my time.
He was the preseason MVP, man. Joe Aska was, he'd be the MVP in preseason, and then you would never see him because it's unfortunate.
Yeah, Nick Bale was there. Nick Bale was running back. We had a stable of running backs, man. Of course, everybody. I was there with the old schoolers, man. Howie Long, Greg Townsend. Who else, man? Wisniewski, the Wizard.
Who should be in the Hall of Fame, damn it.
Yeah, the Wizard, man. Who else? The center.
Mosbar?
Mosbar. I was there with Don Mosbar. Dan Turk was his backup. Then we got what's his face that disappeared that year. He came and replaced Mosbar. He went missing in the Super Bowl.
B-Rob.
Yeah. So man. I was fortunate, man. I was there. I was able to play with some of the originals. And I was blown away when I was there with Marcus and those guys, man. I couldn't believe it. I used to watch them in the Coliseum.
Now, I got to ask, and I'm not trying to leave a bad taste in your mouth, but 95, okay? I'm in England, okay? Or 95, 90, or let me say 90, yeah, let me say 95. I'm in England. Raiders are 8-2.
Oh, yeah.
8-2. And I know that the Raiders are the best team in the AFC, and I have to work military. I'm working with a dude that's a Broncos fan.
Don't.
And I was like, yeah, it's like, come on. And that was the year I think that the Broncos they went from the horse with the D to their new design, which they still have. That was when they changed it. It was like around 95. And I'm like, man, that's some fugly fugly looking horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at 90, we're 8-2. And like I said, you're catching passes from Jeff Hostetler. And I'm watching a game, and I know it was in the Coliseum, and I can't. Was it the Cowboy game that Haas went out? I think it might have been the Cowboy game.
I think it was that game. The Cowboys beat us in that freaking game.
Yeah, and I think that was. I might be mistaken, but I think that was the game that Haas went out.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then.
Yeah, we got away from Raider football. To me, because me and Pancho, we talk about this all the time. You feature so many people when you're winning, and then when the main person gets hurt, then you want to try to get away or curtail what you were doing to try to accommodate the next person that's replacing this person, instead of letting this person jump in and take off where this guy left off. And I just think that I wasn't catching balls like I was before, you know what I'm saying? And we were trying to get the ball to certain individuals almost like forcefully. And teams knew it. And so, we just tanked. It went downhill from there, and we couldn't recoup, we couldn't regather, man.
Because I know that team was the best team in the AFC at that time. I know it, and you know it too.
Yeah, we were supposed to be there, the last two standing. We had a great team that year, man, and I believe Haas did get hurt that game. And after that, it was I don't know if we had Billy Joe or
I thought it was Vince. I think Vince.
I think it was Vince Evans. I think it was Vince. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because again, you were there, but I'm thinking.
Yeah, it was Vince. I believe it was Vince because we did have Billy. Billy Joe was young then.
Yeah. For those who don't know, that's Billy Joe Hobart.
Hobart, yeah. Oh, I forgot we had Napoleon too at running back, McCullough.
Yeah, and I tell you, I remember the wow. I remember the game.
Oh, Harvey Williams. Harvey and Daryl Finner.
Wait. Let's do it. This is my Harvey Williams impersonation.
That's right.
Because that's all you saw was Harvey had the neck.
He still does have the neck. He's here in Houston.
Oh, well, tell him to come on to the show too. Because I know who Harvey Williams is.
Yeah.
Okay. But so you go now. Tell me about the transition, because we kind of alluded up to it. The transition of your last year in actually I think they had gone back to or were in Oakland that year. That was the transition year. And then you left the Raiders. And what is that like? I mean, when you do an out briefing did you do an out briefing with Al, or did you just do it with the office staff? Or tell me what it's like leaving. I hate saying it, but
no. You don't. I didn't do an out briefing with Al. You don't do the out briefing with Al. You just go to your position coaches, your head coaches, your teammates, and talk to them and tell them you had a blast. And it's because it's a business. At the end of the day, it's out of your control. And it's going to come a point in time where you can make so much money, and then they can get this other person that can make less money, and he can do these jobs. So and at that time, I was catching balls, and I wanted more balls. I wanted all the balls, because that's more money. And so Frank, my agent Frank Bauer, up at SunWest Sports, Devontae Adams' agent, he has the same agent I had, Devontae Adams. So Frank is still doing it. So he got a call, man. He got a call from Iron Mike Ditka up in New Orleans. And at the time, he was overhauling the Saints. And he got rid of basically everybody over there, and he brought me in there. He brought Randall Thrill-Hill. He brought in Andre Hastings from the Steelers. He got rid of Torrance Smalls and who else? He got rid of all the players over there, man. He told me certain things that was going to happen, and it didn't work. It didn't work towards the way he said it was going to work.
Right.
And little did I know. When I got there, I was basically doing what I was doing with the Raiders, and nothing against Randall Thrill-Hill and Andre Hastings and all that, because Andre I think they went to the Super Bowl with the Steelers that year before, whatever it is. And, but I knew I was better than those guys. You know what I'm saying? And so Mike is old school, man. I have no qualms with Mike because it's his team. He wants to do stuff the way he wants to do it. Like the Bears, that's what you want to do. You do it. That was his way. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't work out to what I was used to. And it wasn't just Mike. It was the manager. It was the whole organization. The way it is ran, it was different from the Raiders.
Right.
And so when you have to fight for socks and shirts and stuff that when I was with the Raiders, it was more than enough. Here. It's whatever you want. Yeah, it's a problem. And so, I ended up playing, I believe I played 4 games. I think my last game I played there was against the Detroit Lions. We beat Barry Sanders in New Orleans, scored a touchdown. And then Frank, I told him this is not working, man. And he got me. He said, Daryl, just go to your apartment. Let me make some calls. And they talked to Mike, and hey, next thing you know, he had me up there in Seattle with Coach Erickson and with Joey Galloway and Warren Moon and the Blades brothers and all those guys. And so, that I ended up finishing that season up there, but it was night and day with the Saints, man. The Saints, they've come away from where they were. Okay. But when I was there, they were just trying to, get that thing going. And, Harold Jackson, he was my coach, my position coach, 2'9". And he was cool. He was good. And they had some good players. Heath Schuler, they had just got Heath Schuler. He was quarterback. They got rid of Jim Everett. He sent Jim Everett to pick me up from the airport. And we had a nice conversation, but he got, Joe Horn was there. We had some receivers, but I was coming from the Raiders, man. I was coming from the Raiders, man. But Mike Ditka, he was used to Willie Gault having the speed on one side, and then having, possession and tight end because that was his position, and we're gonna run the ball, and it just wasn't my deal. But I was anticipating going there and getting out there and catching more balls than what I was catching with the Raiders, and it just didn't happen for me there. So.
But like I said, but you go from, I don't want to say you went from the outhouse to the penthouse, but you definitely went to a better situation where you have Joey Galloway on the other side.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we had
Erickson is offensive minded, from his days back at the U. So that's, and he brings in, like I said, Benny, was it Benny Blades or
it was Brian Blades and Benny was the safety.
Right. Yeah, Brian was the receiver.
Brian was the receiver.
Right. And then his brother played D-back.
And Coach Erickson, offensive guru, man. We spread the ball. And Warren Moon, dude, man, you couldn't even hear his ball when it got to you. It was so soft. Man. We had who was that other guy? Joey was the guy though. Joey Galloway. We had McKnight, but it was Brian Blades and Joey. Those were the starters. They brought me in there because they were a couple of the receivers were hurt. And so I ended up catching some balls, some passes up there, man. And I actually liked it. It was pretty good up there. I thought I was going to re-sign with them. But, that money thing pops up. You got me. I think that would have been my 6th or 7th year around there. And I had to be paid a certain amount of money. So that's when I took a trip down there to Kansas City to camp for 6 days. And Coach Schott, I knew that wasn't going to work because when we played him, I used to I almost ran into Coach Schottenheimer on the sideline when we played him one time when I ran an out route. But I just knew that wasn't going to do. He wasn't going to keep me around there. Chief wasn't going to keep me around there, and I would never.
Yeah. You had that Raider stink on you.
Yeah, I had it on me. You're right, Cap.
and Marty was not gonna.
No, it wasn't happening, man. It wasn't happening.
Now I was gonna say, that didn't last. So what was your inkling? I said you go for, and I'm sorry, you went from the top of the line, and
going down.
Right. So when did you say, this just ain't happening down here? So obviously you and your agent are looking at options. And I can't believe though that you, and again, I don't know the bit, like I said, you're the professional. I'm just the guy that watches TV. Okay.
Yeah.
What is I can't believe that somebody of your stature and ability, and again, I know it's a pay scale thing, that you have to get a certain amount of money, but I can't believe that nobody would even look at you after that. I just can't see that.
Well, what happens is this: when you move around a lot, stuff gets put out there. He can't stay in one spot. He wants the ball all the time. He's this and that. You know what I'm saying? And that's where your agent has to come in and help you out. And I'm not going to put anything out there bad on Frank, okay, because it's his, he has other clients that he has to take care of, and he has to work with these people, if you know what I'm saying. So I ended up having to find somebody else to try to get me in. And by that time, I had to go over to Canada to play a little bit, to
reinvigorate yourself, maybe?
Reinvigorate myself. So it was a guy over there in Montreal who was well known over here in the States, and he knew some of the people with the Raiders. He knew me from the Raiders real well, and I can't even remember his name, but he was the GM there. And he brought me down there, and I caught some balls, but they had this weird old American ratio thing that they got over there, where they only can keep a certain amount of people, and if you're not playing, they put you on the practice squad, and when you're not playing. So, I've been playing too long to be put on the practice squad. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up leaving there, and Saskatchewan Rough Riders.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in China. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's freezing.
Mm-hmm. And so Montreal is a vacation spot compared to Saskatchewan.
Montreal was pretty nice. Right? Montreal was pretty nice.
Right.
But then here comes Saskatchewan Rough Riders calling. And so I go down there to Saskatchewan, and it's cold and it's snow everywhere. And oh man, it's miserable. But I'm catching balls. I'm having fun. We're winning games. And then we have some injuries, and then they have to move Americans up, put some down, and all this type of stuff with this American ratio stuff again. And then again, the money is not, you don't get no money over there because they tax you twice. You know what I'm saying? So you're just really over there playing football just to try to get you some film, some get yourself going again so other people can see you. And so I played there. It was okay. But all the wacky motions, everybody running toward the line of scrimmage and all that type of stuff, and the field was an extra.
Well, it's like 20 yards.
Yeah, man. It was different.
Yeah,
it was different.
And it's weird seeing 2 50-yard lines and then a C in the middle. I'm like, I never got that.
Yes, it's the field seemed like it was longer than the NFL field to me. I know it was wider, and then you have those goalposts like weird in the end zone right there. You know what I'm saying? So, but I caught some touchdowns, got some balls here. And it was an experience. It was an experience, but I couldn't wait for old Steve Ortmeyer to give me a call. And I couldn't wait for Vince McMahon to get that original XFL up and going, because I knew Steve was in the mix with the Memphis team. He didn't let me know what he was going to be doing as far as coaching or being the GM or the president, but he ended up being the GM. And man, I think Kippy Brown was the head coach. Kippy,
I remember that name. Yeah.
Keith Brown was our head coach, and we had Drunken Miller, and we had Rashawn Salam, and we had Alvin Harper, and it was this guy. He played on the Raiders with me. I helped him make the team. What was his name? We traded him to the Green Bay Packers too. Charles Jordan. Remember Charles Jordan, the other 9 speed guy? Charles was on the team with me. And
I'll keep my mouth shut about Drunken Miller. I actually met him once, so I'm
Drunken Miller, he threw some touchdown passes to me. And that was actually the most fun I've ever had playing football, because they kind of let us do our thing. We were able to change names. I was the Mantis and all that type of stuff. And we had that freaking camera thing that followed us above our heads and all that.
Which the NFL did initiate.
That's right. That's where it came from.
Exactly. So there was a lot of good things that, because when you have innovation.
Yes.
And this is a good segue for you as well, sir. When you have innovation.
Correct.
and you bring aspects that get people that get interested, and it's like, wow, that's cool. Well, that would be something that would be inspiring.
Yes.
Because again, you've gone from the NFL to the CFL to the XFL. And again, one thing I can say about Vince McMahon is a showman for sure, but he's going to bring a product to the people. I mean, I love, and I don't remember what the dude's name, but He Hate Me. Come on, man, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
And if you say XFL, the one person that you're going to remember is He Hate Me. Why? Yeah. Because he hate me. That's all you got to say. That was the XFL. That was the dude.
Yeah.
And again, if he was Walter Jones, who I know Walter Jones played in Seattle as an offensive line. He ain't Walter Jones, but he hate me. And he did make it to the NFL eventually. So Violator came on, so I made it eventually. See, that's subliminal. But the innovations there, and the good things that stuck is incorporated into an NFL product. And that's why you segue.
Yes.
You are going to bring innovation.
I'm going to bring innovation to the city of Houston in the state of Texas with the American Spring Football League.
Yes, sir.
The ASFL. Now, if you can remember, 62 years ago, it was a league by the name of the American Football League that competed with the NFL. And our Raiders was a part of that league. And so the ASFL, which is the American Spring Football League, I am an owner of the Houston franchise. Okay. Now, we're going to be playing in the spring of 2023. Okay. And we plan to kick off the end of February, the beginning of March. All right. We have 8 teams, just like they did 62 years ago. Okay. When Mr. Hunt came and had his 8 teams, but we have 8 teams: Houston, Mississippi, Austin. We just added West Virginia. We have Ohio, Arkansas, and what's the 8th team? Can't remember the 8th team. But we have 8 teams, and we're going to be playing professional football this spring. Okay. Now, what I had to do to be a part of this, it's a franchise fee. Okay, and just like any professional team, you can imagine what the franchise fee was. It's a franchise fee. Okay?
It's more than $2, folks.
Yes, it's more than $2.
I want my $2 like the dude for the newspaper. No, it's more than $2. It's definitely a little bit more.
Yes, and so what we're doing is we're making it fan friendly. We're going back to the days that, like I mentioned, $30 tickets, season tickets that cost you $150. It's going to be, we're looking at a live stream. We're trying to get a TV deal going with it. If we don't, we're talking with Hulu. We're talking with other people to try to get a streaming deal going here. but we're taking baby steps. We're doing it the way they did it 62 years ago. We're not going to play in 40 and 50,000 seat stadiums. Our largest stadium may be 20,000 seats because we want to fill it. Okay, we're going to be. We're not going to be a one entity league, which means one person gets mad or a TV station gets angry and shuts down the league, which is why I mentioned 8 team owners. Each team will be owned by 8 individual owners, and that owner will have to put an escrow account up. That escrow account will be used. Let's say Joe Blow's team is having a problem making payroll or paying workman's comp or whatever it is, transportation or hotel fee. I don't know, whatever it is. Well, the league can go into the escrow account and they can help pay that bill and you can put that money back. Whereas if you don't have the escrow account, you have games scheduled, you can't pay your bills, whatever, then what? Games are canceled, league is canceled, we have no league. So we're going to have the escrow account set up. And that amount is $1.2 million. I'm just going to tell you.
Well, there's 2 in there somewhere, but it's 1.2.
Yeah, it's 1.2 million for the escrow. That money is not going to be touched unless you have to. Okay. And then it's 1.6 million that you need to run the league for operational costs. So that's the total of 2.8. Okay. So if you do the math, my business attorney told me, Daryl, you have the best crowdfunding platform there is. You have the Raider Nation. He said, and at that time, I told him I said, man, if I can get people to donate $5-7, you know, I could get this thing done. And he said, Daryl, come on, man, it costs you $20 to get a Happy Meal or, you know, or food from a restaurant or something, man. He said, man, if you get 140,000 fans, Raider fans, to donate $20, that's your 2.8 right there. And so that's why the GoFundMe is set up, okay? Because I'm trying to get the help of the nation to donate. If you can't donate 20, 10 is fine. It's no big deal. But I need 140,000 Raider fans, Raider boosters, Raider clubs to donate. Go to the GoFundMe and donate it so we can get this thing going. Because I've come to find out that here in Houston, we have 15. We have so many Raider fan clubs here. They want football. When football is over in the fall, they're jonesing to see football. And so I went to them and I asked them, would this be something that would be interested in doing if I was offered this opportunity? And they was like, Daryl, if you can get it, man, get it. Because we want football. And I will tell you guys this. We won't be silver and black spot on like the Raiders, because I respect my team. I love my team. I will not do that to Mr. Davis, Mr. Mark. Okay, that's my squad. Raiders come first. Okay, but you will not have a hard time knowing who we are. I can tell you that. I can guarantee you that. So we will have some white, we will have some silver, we will have some black, but we won't look just like my Raiders. Can't do it. Okay, and my plan is this is not just my team. This is the nation's team, man. I want us to be able to have a place when the Raider season's over and we're successful and we win these Super Bowls, keep on partying. We have a spring football team where we can get some of the guys, because my thought was really the practice squad guys, they don't get to play during the season. You know, they don't get to do anything but practice and help the guys get prepared for Sundays. They should be able to come, you know, I should be able to contact Josh or whoever. They can contact me, whatever we need to do. Daryl, can you sign this guy up? You know, let him play a little bit this spring so we can evaluate him and get some film on him and then, you know, work with him in the camp and stuff like that. You know, it's just something to help, you know, and it doesn't have to be just the Raider players. It could be anybody on the practice squad. It doesn't matter. But, you know, just to be able to have another venue for them to work on their skill, that's what this is about to me. And so that's what the GoFundMe, all the money is for operational fees to get this thing going. and I'm, transparent with everything. I want everybody to know what's going on with everything. And like I said, 20,000 seat stadium. We're not going to be in the hub cities, like some leagues. We're going to be in the hubs. I'm not going to mention their name, but then they're going to fly them or bust them down on game day. We're going to be practicing in the city of Houston, where the fans can come watch us, where our players can go do some benefits, some autograph signings, some stuff at the hospitals with the kids, whatever. We're going to be in the community. And so I would like to have all the flags and banners, all in the stadium, all that stuff up in the stadium on game day, and just have all the alums and the ambassadors, captain and everyone. We want all that, because that's what our fan base, my fan base here in Houston, is going to be the Raider Nation. And they're already trying to get season tickets. And, with a 15 and 20,000 seat stadium, it's not going to take long to get that thing sold out. And so, I'm just excited, man. And I just need you guys to give me a hand. Give me a hand. I'm asking for your help, Nation. I'm asking for your help. Whatever you can do.
And Ed Winchell and I already know the answer to this, and I'm going to let Daryl answer that for you, because Ed wants to have, because you're from LA, Ed's from LA. He's talking about an LA team, and I'm going to let you answer that because I already know the answer.
Gotcha. So Ed, when the CEO of this league, his name is Michael Dwyer. Michael Dwyer is in LA. He lives in LA. He's in LA right now. Michael Dwyer actually had the rights to the USFL, but I won't get into that story. But he's been working on this monster for a long time. Okay. And when he asked me about being an owner of a team, the first thing I told him was, yes, and I want to be in Oakland. I told him I want to be in Oakland. Well, we couldn't go to Oakland or LA or San Diego or those type of places now because of workman's comp. Okay. The workman's comp in California is horrendous. Okay, it's $130,000 here in Texas, which is why you have these teams, these other leagues here in these hub places, because the cost it's not expensive. Okay, it's cheap. So that's why I told you we're gonna start off taking baby steps. We got our teams are gonna be kind of local, where the transportation won't kill us. As if we was going from here to California or San Diego, something like that. That's why we're playing in Arkansas and Austin and places like that. Mississippi.
We're in a place where in the South loves football. And you actually surprised me when you said you went up to Ohio. Now, granted, Ohio is like, it's Buckeyes, when they on Saturday, and then the Browns. So for that, so you're going to places where they're going to support the teams in football, yes, because they are a football market.
Correct. And let me put this out here too, Cap. I'm gonna let everyone know I will be the only team that will be, I wouldn't say competing, because I really don't care about the XFL and the USFL. As you know, they're going to have a Houston team, XFL. The USFL already has a team, a Houston team. Okay, but they won't be here in Houston. I will be the only one here in Houston with my team. The other places that I told you about, Arkansas and Austin, they're going to be the only show in town there. Which is why I told you I really don't care about competing with them, because I know what my market is. I know who my fans are going to be. So I'm not really concerned with the XFL and the USFL, but I am the only team in the ASFL that will be in the city with two teams that's in the other leagues.
Mm-hmm. And again, for those that don't know, remember last year, the USFL played all their games in Birmingham. Yes. Everybody played in Birmingham. All the teams played it. So it's basically Birmingham had the franchise, and that's what I couldn't understand. It's like, well, they have a Tampa Bay Bandits. Well, where they play? They play in Birmingham. and there's not as much I mean, in Birmingham, they're fantastic.
Yeah, Birmingham won it. Birmingham won it. They had the most fan base, the most team sales. They did real well until they made a real good decision to move the championship game from Birmingham, where they played all year, to Ohio.
Right. So I mean, like, that is why that you go to a and again, me talking off the top of my head, you're going to go to a area that the fans are going to support the team because the team actually plays there. You said it. The team's going to get out there in the community. Yes. They're going to know, oh, that's Billy Joe Jim Bob, who's the quarterback.
Correct.
Okay. So that you go out there, you go to the hospitals, you go to the kids centers, you go to the schools.
Yes.
And they have something it's the Houston, and I know what the name is too.
Yeah.
That's the Houston, and that's my team. Okay. You don't have to worry about, some other. It's like, well, I play for. No, you don't. You play for wherever they're market. I said I play for the Houston.
Yes. Correct.
So that's great, and I think that is a great marketing concept. And by the way, this is a real commodity, and I will get you with it. Ed is marketing and advertising.
Gotcha, Ed. Yes, sir.
And so, Ed, I will hook you up with Daryl, and this is the other one for you, Daryl.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I will get you involved with that as well, Daryl. And Ed knows a few people on the Raiders. I won't say who, but he knows a few people from his LA days. That should give you some of the things. So he's a good friend of mine. So that's why he was asking about the LA team. And again, if you spit on the sidewalk in California, I'm sure that it probably costs you like $100 or well, like I said, when you're talking about workman's comp, California is a great place to visit, but I definitely don't want to live or work there.
Gotcha. And I will say this, each owner, we have to make a 3-year commitment. Okay. That means no one can move your team in 3 years. I can't move my team to LA, even though we're selling everything out. We want to move and stuff like that. After the 3rd year, then we can talk about doing stuff like that. I believe after the 2nd year, we're going to add teams. It might not be LA, but another thing that brought me to this is the teams. Unlike the NFL, we're going to have a lot of minority-run teams. We're going to have, we have ladies interested in owning the teams. It's going to be different from the NFL. Even the pay scale. The starting quarterback is probably going to get $2,000 a game. Everyone else may get $1,000 a game, like arena, but we know that in order to sustain this, we got to do certain things. And so we got the mentality to crawl before, you got to crawl before you can walk. And so we just want to make sure, we're around 3 years. After the 3rd year, we can see what we want to do, but we plan on being here for a long time. The business plan that Mr. Dwyer showed all the owners, it was awesome. I mean, it's just like they did it 62 years ago when they got together and said, this is what we need to do to make this thing work. And next thing you know, they ended up merging. Teams were merging within it.
That AFL thing kind of did work out.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. It did. And for those that don't know, and like I said, it was not Lamar Hunt that did this.
Yes.
It was a certain other individual that made the NFL come to them, not the other way around. I'm just saying, because I am a historian, okay? It should be the Al Davis Trophy for the AFC champions, just saying. But Al didn't come from the oil industry in Texas. And so, Mr. Hunt, who brought those Dallas Texans up to Kansas City when they became the Chiefs, he had a little bit of money in his pocket, okay?
Yeah.
But the brains of the organization, that's why Mr. Davis was the AFL commissioner. That's why he went from being a coach to a commissioner, to a manager, the general partner, to full ownership. There ain't nobody in the NFL that has gotten that on their resume. Jerry Jones is a wannabe. Sorry. Okay, because Jerry Jones does not have the resume. And no offense to Jerry, but it's like, sorry, you might think no. There's only one Mr. Al Davis, and that's why that the ASFL is going to go by that roots, and they're going to do things the right way. You start it, you nurture it, and you go from what they say.
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing, Cap. We're following that blueprint to a T, man, to a T.
Okay, so definitely, I'm putting it up again. It's in the chat. The Daryl's GoFundMe. It's also here on the screen. So all you do is click on the link, go to the GoFundMe, and you can be a part.
Yes.
Ground floor, baby.
Yes.
The ground floor. And I've already spoken with Daryl. Trust me, when you get money out of my pocket, it's going to be for something worthwhile. Okay.
I appreciate you, Cap.
It's going to be for something worthwhile. And that's why I got the soundboard here. And Daryl is a wonderful gentleman, as you guys know. I tell you this, Daryl, I can't wait for you and Pancho to let me know what game you're going to be at. As long as it's not the indie games, I'm not going to the indie game.
Me neither.
But there will be a game that I will be at, and I can't wait to go out because I'm gonna be the little dude in the middle with the bookend. Okay, it's kind of like when I had to throw out Donald Penn one night when he was in Tampa. I was a bouncer in Tampa. Okay, and Donald was a cool guy, but it was 3:00 in the morning, and I went up to him and I said, I'm sorry, because again, an older gentleman like me has the panache, and the mouth. Right? So I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Penn. We've definitely enjoyed your time here, but it's time to go. Now, Donald Penn's not going to pay any attention to me. It's like because he can breathe on me, and like kind of like Gary Zimmerman did. Yeah, but I did have two bookends behind me, so I had the niceties. And I had the, like the Charles Filya and the Sacks, the guys that were, Mongo move people, type of thing.
Yeah.
So you let me be the eloquent general. And Donald was wonderful. Donald was a wonderful guy because I met Donald Penn there. I know Bruce Grabkowski from the place where I bounced at. I got to get a hold of Bruce one of these days, but he's hard to get. I used to have his number in my phone, but it don't work anymore. But that is why you do things the right way, and this is the right way. Go to the GoFundMe, be a part of the ground floor, and get in there and be the person that helps out this wonderful gentleman in the franchise for the Houston.
Yeah. You guys are gonna. The name starts with an R. You're gonna love it. The logo is awesome. Like I said, you're not gonna have a hard time determining who we are. Because we're gonna play Raider football. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm a football coach. I've won 2 state championships here in Houston at the high school level, as an athletic director also. So I'm gonna be coaching the team as well. And I will tell you, we're gonna do stuff the way we did it back up when I was playing with the Raiders. And we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna win some championships because I don't do this just for fun or recreation.
Right. And again, I didn't even get into that. It's like I was reading here that you had a winless team as the coach at Legacy Christian, which is why we were going to keep this on the PG level.
Yes.
now and I know that Captain has a mouth on him. I'm a retired sailor, but I wasn't doing that. But Legacy Christian, you turned a winless team to a 13-8 record within one game of going to the playoffs in Texas, which is big stuff.
Yeah, that was in Beaumont. That was when I first started off. I used to drive an hour and a half to Beaumont to Legacy Christian. I took on that challenge, man, because they had some kids there, man, and they were in the dumps. They were 0-22 before I got there, and I was able to go and get some kids wanted to come play for a former Raider. They wanted to come play for a former Raider, so some of the kids left the public schools, some of the kids that could make a difference, okay, and they came to the private school, and we were able to scholarship them and help them out. and we were able to get to the playoffs. And then I just left that and went to the public schools. And man, I went to a school, man. I was there for 3 years. We went to the state championship all 3 years, and I won it 2 years. My third year, I had to leave my starting running back because he was ineligible. And so we ended up losing that third one, or I'll have 3 of these. But yeah, man, it's I'm hands on. I'm not only going to be running the team and making sure everything is done the right way, but I'm going to be coaching them. And I have some coaches that know the game, and they're ready to get going, man. We just want to make sure the fans have a great experience. The venue is going to be nice. You will be able to drink you some cold beers, okay? Because people don't realize that the 15 and 20,000 seat stadiums here, those are high school stadiums, and some of our high school stadiums are better than the college stadiums here in Texas. Just so you know. And so my stadium is going to be a college stadium, and you guys you'll like it. We're going to practice there. Hopefully, we'll practice and play there. But we'll be able to drink alcohol at that venue. Unlike high school stadiums, you're not allowed to drink alcohol.
But again, folks, it's going to be fun. Okay, hit the GoFundMe. I'm gonna do this one last thing for you, Daryl, because I got to let you go as well, because I don't want to keep you on too long. Yes, it's 11:30 your time, and I know you got things to do. Your final synopsis, because I'm peeking here. Your thoughts on where the Raiders are going to be going from here on out, and what can happen to this team? Only because people were asking.
Yeah, no, we needed that win badly, man, against the Texans. I did not want the Texans to come from Vegas, and have to hear this crap down here in Houston this week. So we have to utilize. I think Josh has come to the notion. Run the ball, it opens up everything. You have a monster he's eager to run the ball. Let him run the ball and then sprinkle some passes here and there. And I think we should have Waller this week because we've been without Waller also. But we have to run the ball. But our defense, we have to figure out what we want to do. On defense, to me, I don't know if we want to play man. Sometimes it looks like it. Sometimes we want to play zone, and sometimes we want to mix match. And when you look up, we're losing. We got to get something to stick with it and find out what you do best and just do it. And that team has to figure out how to beat you. Okay, but I think we're figuring it out right now. We have a chance to beat the Saints. The Saints, I think they're Dalton is playing. Another Andy Dalton. He's from Houston. Another Katy boy. Katy, Texas, but we have a chance to go on some wins, get some runs, get some wins going. The Saints, we just got to keep this momentum going, man. We got to keep the momentum going. We're off to a good start, but we got to run the ball. That's the one thing that Josh does real well. He done that well with the Patriots. They always ran the ball well and opened up the pass. And he's figuring it out now. He can do that. He can do the same thing here. He has the personnel to do it. But that defense, if you can't stop nobody, you can't beat nobody. That's just me. Because I'll win a game on a field goal or a 2-point a safety if I have a defense that can stop you. If you can't score on me, I'm fine. Okay, but that's the only thing that spooks me. Is our defense. It's easy to score upon. But if we can figure out what we want to do on defense and just do it, and hell, if they beat us, they just beat us. But to me, it looks like we're tinkering around with stuff, trying to figure out what we do best here during the game day. And we should be doing that during the week. And so when we get to the game, you already got your game plan and you know what you want to do against what you want to take away. Just do it, take it away. And then once they figure it out, go in halftime, make some adjustments, and then go from there. But I think we're on a roll, man. I think we're on a roll. I think we could beat the Saints. We better beat the Saints. I played for them for a quick second, but everybody knows my heart. I got my Saints. I got my Saints helmet here, just like I got my Raider helmet. But hey, we have to beat the Saints.
And I think we will. And again, I'm gonna call it pretty much a show. Daryl, please don't go yet. I'm gonna be running my promos out, and then I'll say goodbye to you if possible. But we're gonna be yes, sir. You said one more thing.
One last thing. I want to thank all the booster clubs and the fan clubs that supported me thus far. Space City Nation, Raiders Mexico, Chavo out there with the Los Malosos up out there, man. Squatty Waddy. My guy, of course, Pancho, my room dog, shout out. But everyone that's helped me so far, I really appreciate it. Hey, I need 140,000 people, 140,000 Raider fans. And we have a zillion throughout this country. Donate $20 or whatever you can. If you can get to 20, that's fine. But whatever you can is appreciated. But it takes money to get this thing going. And I'm very appreciative. And I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart. And I love every one of y'all. Thank you.
Yeah, and definitely as well, say thanks to Daryl. If you can start for us this week. yeah. Well, I was going to say if Tay hasn't practiced this week, so you can come in and play Adams' position, I'm sure.
Hey, I'm telling you, you already seen me, Cap. I can line up and catch him.
Folks, like I said, there is not an ounce of fat on this gentleman. Okay, trust me, I got more fat on accident than Daryl has on purpose, and just the way it is, he can definitely start and play for availability. And don't let that wonderful gray goatee fool you. Okay, don't let it fool you. This is all old. That is just refined sugar over there. That's what that white is as well. It's the genuine, gentlemanly aspect of it. And again, Daryl, I thank you for spending time with me. Go hit the GoFundMe. Where is I can't because I'm on a double screen here and I can't hear it. I can't point to it. There it is. That's close as I can get. Go to the GoFundMe. It's in the links as well. Hit it up. Support Daryl, and we're going to get this off the ground. You're going to be on the ground floor for that.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to asfl.biz. That's the website you can go to, and you can see that's the league website. asfl.biz. Okay, that's the league website. You can go to it. You can see all the information on the league on that website. And like I said, Mr. Dwyer, Michael Dwyer is the CEO. This is his brainchild. And hey, also Mr. Davis, Mark Davis, I love you and thank you, sir. And rest in peace, Al. Thank you, Father.
There you go. There's the website that Daryl's talking about, asfl.biz. I got that for you in the chat. That's your information there. Go see it, and then one last look. Go to the GoFundMe. It's also in the link. Daryl, I thank you for spending time with me. Yeah. And again, I'm gonna do my outro. Go fund Daryl. Okay, the captain saying that is. If you love Daryl, you love the Raiders, you love me. I don't care who you like. Just go fund Daryl.
Thank you.
That's what it is. Thank you. Yeah, we will see you tomorrow for my shows. I got a gentleman that did a book on intelligence in the NFL and some of that, because I do intel as a living. That's going to be a unique show. So come be sure to watch that. There's my plug for tomorrow. I'm going to be putting this show on again on a rebroadcast so people can see it because normally I'm not up at this hour as well. Watch it. Thank you for watching. Hit the GoFundMe up. And we will see you next time. Daryl, like I said, please don't go nowhere. I'm going to be doing my outro. Y'all take care. We will see you next time.
Don't forget to give that information to Ed too.
Yeah. Oh, I will. I'll get you Ed's information on our after show.
Gotcha.
Okay. Thanks again, folks. We'll see you next time. Yeah, from Captain Jack in the ASFL, the Houston. It's going to be great, though. It's going to be great. All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you.